Welcome to Free Show Friday. All the glory to God's Son. God bless you, my brother, my sister. Till we meet again this day. Welcome to Free Show Friday. Jesus be our only way.
grow up, I want to be a president.
My life matters.
We always talk about white people killing black people, but we don't talk enough about black on black crime. We kill each other.
My life matters.
Kansas City is different.
Stuff can happen at a moment.
My life matters.
Say if somebody made me mad, I do the first thing that comes to my mind.
My life matters.
We just go and just retaliate now or just get revenge on anything.
My life matters.
I mean, we've got about 170 homicides already in the city this year.
My life matters.
I saw the news, and an 11-year-old girl was shot and killed, and that's all I saw.
Welcome to FreeShow Friday. Welcome my friends from everywhere. I am Gary, glad you're with me. Pull up a chair. We're gonna look at this free show, a tool to serve your church each day, to help you praise in every language, to lift his name in every place. You are welcome here, my family, from every nation, every land. We are one in Christ together, reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to FreeShow Friday. Let's lift high the Holy One. My dream is people empowered. Across the earth his glory shown. Every screen and every session, pointing weary hearts back home. Write your questions in the comments. Share this hope with someone new. We're building more than just a playlist. We're building lives in love and truth. You are welcome here, my family, from every nation, every land. We are one in Christ together, reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to FreeShow Friday. Let's lift high the Holy One. From the north and south, from the east and west, every tongue and tribe, let our Savior be confessed. If this blesses you, pass the blessing on, till the whole world sings of the risen Son. Oh yeah. You are welcome here, my family, from every nation, every land. We are one in Christ together, reaching out with open hands. If your heart is for his kingdom, come and join in what he's done. Welcome to FreeShow Friday. All the glory to God's Son. God bless you, my brother, my sister, till we meet again this day.
as the preaching minister at our church, one thing I don't want to spend any time thinking about: presentation software.
What I love about FreeShow is in many ways its ease of use.
Hey, I'm Jared Ellis from Fellowship Regional Church in Iola, Kansas.
My name is Paul Hugbart. I'm the lead pastor of Southside Christian Church in Fort Pierce, Florida.
In working with church apps, when FreeShow was brought onto the scene, it absolutely took over for us.
We're a church of roughly about 150 folks. I'm not super technologically advanced, but I'm able to put together displays that are visually engaging and look top-notch really every Sunday. Because of the versatility of FreeShow and really the strength of the program.
With FreeShow, we've been able to grab somebody, and because it's so incredibly user-friendly, we can teach them so quickly how to operate the program.
We had an issue with FreeShow that I was struggling to figure out.
So we sent an email, and immediately somebody gets back to us.
And I was actually able to get in touch with the creator of FreeShow directly.
I just need it to work. And that wasn't happening with the presentation software we were using before. So for us, yeah, FreeShow's incredible.
Would we continue using FreeShow if budget wasn't an issue? And yeah, absolutely we would.
If money was no object and it came down to whether or not we were going to use FreeShow or maybe try to use a more expensive program, there's no way in the world that we would go with something else.
What is good, everybody? Welcome to another FreeShow Friday. I am Gary B. Jr., your media consultant, and today we're going to jump into it and have a lot of fun. I'm excited because we got another update coming out. We got another update that is out for FreeShow that we've got to talk about that I'm excited about. And I want to hear some questions from you guys. We got some folks in today. We've got M. Smith 4241, our friend Mark from beautiful Kalispell, Montana in the house. We got Sani Leshangwe. Sani Leshangwe 576 from Swaziland. Waiting patiently, they said, before we get started here. We got Lenny Richardson 4415 saying good morning from Central Mississippi. All right. We got, let's see, who else we got? We got Daryl Daniels in the house. Welcome, my friend. Daryl Daniels 7589. Let me make that right. And he says, I love your instructions and training, but I get confused with so much stuff in the window. Let's see, other shows, crowding and confusing the lesson. I guess I get distracted with so much you can do in FreeShow. Yeah, I can understand that. For me, I have played around with the idea, and I might try to do it today with setting up like a training account in FreeShow, and it's just a blank profile. I say an account, a profile in the program, so you can set up profile. So I'll do that and see if it'll streamline a little bit, and I'll just kind of start from scratch. That's the hard part, is I end up starting from scratch with everything. And so I'm okay with it as long as you guys are. Larry Sweeting in the house. Good morning, my friend from Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville. I love it. We enjoyed our time with you, my friend. Let's see, Bobby Manning 264 in the house saying good morning from El Dorado, Arkansas. I love it. Welcome from Arkansas, my friend. Unwantable, good day, everyone. Unwanna from Nigeria. Welcome. We're getting it in from everywhere. I love it. I'm excited for you guys to join. It's time to start posting questions, posting your comments. I can't wait. Now the question I have for the day, let me put this in the chat. I don't even know how to make this like show up for everybody, but I want to make this be a primary question, is who uses, if at all, black magic devices? Who uses black magic devices? So who uses black magic devices? And this is for your monitors. This is for your monitors. Let's see here. Atisa John Mark says, hello, having a function but couldn't miss it. It's evening though, currently in Uganda. Welcome, my friend from Uganda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know who uses the Black Magic devices, if at all, right? I'm curious because I've been doing some testing, talking with a lot of customers and trying to figure out how we can make sure the Black Magic devices are working the way we expect them to. Christopher's done an unbelievable job testing it out, making sure it works. But I think there was a hiccup when it came to how it was supposed to work with another setup. So we're going to play with that and check it out together. All right. Let me pull up my YouTube community comments to make sure we don't miss any of those, because we got some questions that came in. Including one from our friend Mr. Terry Ray. And I got to make sure that I understand his question. So when I was replying to him, I hope that he can join us today, and or we can figure out what he's asking here. All right, so let's jump right into it with this here. So it's time to talk about this beta. Beta 3 is in the house. It is live and available, and it includes some stuff, and you guys help me out with this. What does WebRTC streaming mean and or do for you? I don't have a clue, and I'm not even trying to rhyme. My wife would appreciate that. Like, she's a really cool artist, spoken word person. So but and then also audio effects were added. Haven't got to play with that yet. We got to check it out. And then I'm just going over these real quick and then we'll dive into them. We got a better focus mode keyboard navigation. I know that was a request that I saw, that I experienced was a challenge where it wasn't navigating like I expected to when I was in focus mode. And then option for audio playlist to auto pause after one song has ended. That's kind of cool. Very cool. Let's see here. We got audio replay gain from metadata. Interesting. Interesting. And then project status in progress item. So project status in the progress item. Okay. Interesting. And then caption item translation, export full project as a PDF or as PDF. That's going to be interesting. Blackmagic device and NDI improvements, and then small tweaks. And then they had some bug fixes here. If you submitted a ticket, like I said, for me, I submitted a ticket about this focus mode navigation, right? And if they can recreate that, then you'll see some improvements or some adjustments as they get time to get attention to that particular ticket. So if you submitted a ticket through GitHub, you'll see some things here, like somebody must have submitted some issues with some audio, I think this is just called a caret position fixes, right? The little caret icon. And then the PDF exporting and dynamic values not added to text boxes, all those got addressed as we continue to develop with the program. So I'm excited about that. Let's see here. Oh, Mr. Terry Ray says, what's I want to get some understanding about that question you asked me about your timer, and make sure that I know I asked you a question about it, but I haven't got to check and see if you responded to me today. I've been busy, so let me know. We'll jump into it. We're gonna figure it out together if you didn't yet. Okay. But let's go back into this idea of what we got. So we've got this WebRTC streaming. All right. So WebRTC streaming. Somebody talk to me about that if you've ever used it. Okay. WebRTC streaming. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to change my profile. And I've got different profiles here. And one of them is just called training. And hopefully this will streamline some things. So I've got it to where I can write and see everything. But I made it to where a lot of stuff was hidden. And then under shows, I hid quite a few shows. For training, I don't even need to see that one. Let's see, your training test, that's fine. Presentations is fine. Opening, closing, in the lab. I guess I can keep that. That's fine. Okay. Yep. And so who's ever played with the profiles in FreeShow before? Because they're unbelievable. But it's a lot that you can see here, but these are literally going to be the same for everybody. Well, not saying the same. This is because I have so many overlay categories, and this is representative of all of my show categories here. I can literally adjust what this profile can see here or here, right? Either it's visible or either it's visible with the eyeball or not visible, right? And so the eyeball just means it could be visible but not editable, or you can hit the pencil to make it editable as well. Okay, and this is just a part of your settings. built into the program. Really, really cool. So I'm gonna make this particular profile be set as active. I'll go back to my show. Cleaned up a little bit, but not much. So we'll work on that. I gotta figure out what I'll do. We'll see. All right. So WebRTC. WebRTC is tied to your output from what it looks like. So if I go here to outputs, you'll see now WebRTC streaming. And if you turn that on, you're going to get the WIP endpoint URL and the bearer token, which is optional. And I don't know about either one of those. You guys are a lot smarter than me when it comes to stuff like this. So let me know if any of that makes sense to you. I did some research on a little bit of that stuff. And for me, it still was not quite clear as to what we were dealing with, but it seems like it's just a more efficient way to stream. And I think it allows you to just put in your stream URL directly from YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're going to do it. And from what I looked at, this is kind of like what happens with your, if you stream from like a mobile device to one of those platforms, it's kind of the same idea. Okay. But in this case, it's coming directly through FreeShow. So you're streaming an actual output. So if you do that, then you want to make sure that your output is reflective of everything you need in terms of video inputs and all that kind of stuff. And you can just stream the whole service directly from FreeShow without having to use, this is my understanding at least, you don't have to use an OBS type service or anything like that, which is crazy. All right. Crazy cool and crazy crazy, because in the functions now, you also have OBS Studio where you can control your OBS content. Okay. Which is really cool as well. So if you do use OBS, you can continue to use that directly from the program, right? Open up OBS and then connect. And or I think or is probably most likely, maybe both. I never thought about that. I wonder if I could stream to both. I had to test it out. I don't know the best way to do it, but I wonder if I can stream to two different platforms, one from OBS and then one from FreeShow separately. Oh, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Okay. So that's WebRTC streaming where it is. Like I said, this is just a preview of what it is. Audio effects. Now this one, I don't even know where that would be. Audio effects. I got sound effects. Anybody figure out where the audio effects live? Let me see if I right click on this. Slide actions. Let me see. Start action. Is there audio effect? No. Let's see here. Lenny Richardson 4415 says, I have an issue with playing YouTube videos. The sound and video seem to keep getting out of sync about halfway in. Ooh. The only thing I can think of with that is it seems like it may just be an internet issue. What's your internet in that situation, Lenny Richardson? Let me know what your internet is in terms of speed. This will be download speed, I guess, right? And then so Larry's asking, where do I get my sound effects from? I got DaVinci Resolve has a sound effects library that is completely I would say it's completely free. I'm pretty sure it's free. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's free. If you download DaVinci Resolve and then go to the sound effects, you can download the sound effects library, and what it is just a big old folder of a bunch of sound effects. That's one place that I got them, and I can't remember because I did pay for DaVinci Resolve, so I don't know. I can't remember if it was paid in terms of it came with the studio, DaVinci Studio, or if it was a part of the free version. So forgive me, but I got a lot of them from DaVinci Resolve. Let me see, and I'll show you what those look like. Let's see. So it's called the Fairlight Sound Library, and these are the media files for that. And it's a bunch of them. I don't know if they'll come through for you guys. Let me see. Ants scurrying aluminum can crush. Let me see. No, you can't hear that. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I think if I put it in FreeShow, it might play. But yeah, but it's a sound effect. I'll just say that. All right. But it's got a bunch of like real, I'm gonna say cinematic or movie type stuff. So like a bathroom setup, bed bounce, or ball clang, or these are all designed for like video editing for like film and things like that, right? Like a body falls on the slide on their side, a body fall. on wood or hardwood. That's what those are. Bike bells. They're real kind of generic, but you can just do a search. I'm sure there's some places you can get some free sound effects that you can use and drag those onto, or save them to your computer for one, download them, and then drag them onto your slides, or add them to your effects library or sound effects. I think it's called the sound effects library, and you got these kind of things that you can add in there that way. And if you want to, you can remove them by just right clicking on it and removing it. Okay, I love that. Let's see here, and I got my double face on. I hate that happens. That's hilarious. Let's do this one here. So better focus mode, keyboard navigation. This one's a big one for me. I couldn't find the audio effects. Somebody help me out. What is the audio effects? Like, how do I get to that? Audio effects. I don't think it would be in overlays, right? This is effects. And if I say new effect, if it's in here, this is gonna be crazy. I'm gonna say audio effect test. If I say add, yeah, it's not in overlays. Under effects, let's see what this is. Yeah, that's just the background color. Okay. Yeah, and it's default to and transparent background. Let's see here. We've got Pam Fagart saying stage display. How can you change how many lines of the next slide are shown? How many lines of the next slide? That's an interesting question. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. How can you change how many lines of the next slide text are shown on the stage display? Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go here. This is my opening and closing. This is my next slide content here. You'll see on the far right there. All right. And if I go into this, you can see that you can invert the items. You can include media if you want to. And then here it is. You can select max number of lines right at that. So you'll see under the text box, you'll see the max number of lines of that particular item. So if I go back, let's go to a show to kind of make this more realistic. And I'll pick a song. Let's see, Alabaster Box. All right, so I got Alabaster Box. It is alive and kicking. If I go to stage, you'll see here that this one is showing. It looks like 3 lines, but I think it's just 2, right? In terms of this whole setup, I'm pretty sure I got mine set to where it's 2 lines per slide typically. So if I say next slide just has 1, then you'll see it that way. And it just shows max lines there. So it would be under the stage layout. And let's see here. I saw something pop up there. Let me see. That might have just been a save. I don't know what that was. But so you can go into your stage layout, select your next slide text box, and then pick that option that says max lines. And it'll show you. You hit the text box tab over here on the right, and then you pick the max lines, and it'll show you exactly how many you want. So if I say 2, you'll see everything that I've got. If I say 3, it doesn't change because I've got it set to 2 lines already. But I can go down. If I go down to 1, you notice that it automatically adjusts, which is really cool. I like that idea. I never even thought about doing something like that, but it's available. Like I said, Christopher built it in. Mike always says if Christopher built it in, it's a very good reason for it. And I agree. It's a very good reason that it's there. And it is there, which is very cool. Lenny says they're using T-Mobile cellular 95 megabit per second down and 17 megabits up. Yeah, I don't know, Lanny. I think is anybody else on that network? Would be my other question. And I don't think that you're alone with this. So I'm not saying that in terms of that it's always supposed to work perfectly or that it always does. I'm just not sure because I don't use it enough. For my use case, it's not something that's a regular. But my guess is that it could have something to do with the internet, but maybe it's just the way that it is. Because I've worked with churches and they'll play a YouTube video, but I've not seen a lot of complaint about it being delayed. if that makes sense. Like you said, about midway through. Make sure you got the latest version, not necessarily the beta, but make sure you have the latest version of FreeShow too. That would be a big deal with any of these questions that we have, is that make sure you're using the latest version. And in this case, that latest version would be 1.6.0, right? So these are all 6.1 betas, but the full version of 1.6.0 is available. I don't know if anything changed with any better YouTube URL parsing. I don't know what that means. I don't think that has anything to do with what you're dealing with, but maybe it could. So make sure you at least have 1.6.0. Okay, that's a big deal. Let's see here. And then Pam Fagar says, good morning, by the way. Good morning to you as well. Where you joining us from, Pam? Pam Fagart. I may be saying it all wrong, but let us know where you're joining us from. We love to hear. We love to hear it. All right. So we talked about, I'm gonna go back up. We talked about WebRTC. I couldn't find audio effects. I got to think about that. Let me see if I can look. I'm gonna see if I can put in a special request to find out where the audio effects are. Can you guys hear me typing? If so, I'm gonna change my my settings on OBS, because I don't want it to echo. But it's based on where my microphone is connected to. It's not connected to my desk, but it is on the floor on a stand. So I think that's the problem. If you can, okay, let me know. Let's see here. Okay, Windham, Minnesota. Okay, Windham. I've never heard of Windham, Minnesota. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, very cool. I pronounced it good enough. All right, let's see here. And Lenny says, yeah, no one else is on the network. I'm using 1.6.0. Okay. Yeah, you could put in a ticket for that. If you see it consistently, like if you know you can repeat it, then put in a ticket for it and see if Christopher is able to repeat that as well. And if he can, then he'll try to make a fix for it. That's the idea. And so if you're seeing that, I don't see any updates. Let's look and see in here real quick. None of this has to do with YouTube. So I'm wondering if any of the betas have had anything reported about that. Text edit, context, options. Did we talk about this? Improved auto slide groups, drop slides in preview to set a specific output. Output style should use any custom action for controlling OBS. I don't know if we talked about these, but we must have action for controlling Spotify. I'm just looking for anything about YouTube in the latest betas. Mark, update, NDI, no. Let's see here. Here we go. Fix switching from a YouTube video to another one causing loading issues. That could be some of what you may be dealing with. Are you coming from more than one? Like you coming from one YouTube video to the next one? Let me know if that's what you've been dealing with. That was a question from Lenny Richardson, 4415. Let me know. That's the only thing that I can see here that has to do with YouTube specifically. All right. And so now we're going to talk about let's see what else we got. We've got audio replay. Oh no, let's see. Better focus mode, keyboard navigation. So let's talk about focus mode. I don't know if you guys have ever used it before, but focus mode is pretty cool. Let me see if I got a particular show. It's an A play test in the lab. All right, so I'm gonna make a project, and I'm gonna make this project be in my May folder. So I'm gonna select the May folder, hit the plus sign, new project, and we're gonna call this training. All right, and I'm gonna drag in Alabaster Box. I'm going to drag in Agnes D and Build My Life. Don't need FreeShow Friday in there. And if you guys hear my stomach, forgive me. I had some yogurt this morning, but that's about it. All right, so I got those items in there, and I'll do a new section, and we'll call this section Worship. We'll just put that right above those, and I'm gonna right click, change my color. I like to make my colors nice and bright, easy to see, and it shows everything that's in there. And then I'll do another new section. Let's go here. We'll do a new section, and it puts it right up under wherever you actively are in. All right, so I'll just call this message, and I'm going to put in some scriptures. So God said, let there be light. This is the amplified version, so I'm going to bring in that and convert that to a show. We got that, and then I want to do another set of scriptures. We're going to do Joshua 1 through 9. All right, convert that to a show. So we got all these verses. We got all these this content. I'm gonna make this one be a different color as well, or it may be the same. I'll do scripture. We'll make it be blue. All right. So I've got my quick show here. And for those who don't know, there's an option in FreeShow called toggle focus mode. If you go to the very top and select view, you can see toggle focus mode. And what it does is it gives you all of your content. And I like to call this the ProPresenter view. So if anybody's ever used ProPresenter, which I'm not saying that I have, but I've seen enough of it and seen people use it to where you can navigate through your show by simply using your arrow keys to the right. Okay. And this is not anything different, right? The issue I think I ran into was when I go here and go to the right and go to it again, it would go through, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work for certain things. Let's see here. Now I'm going through actual, so arrow to the right is there. I don't know where I went. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I can arrow to the right through, and I can actually go between each particular slide like seamlessly. If you didn't have it in focus mode, arrow to the right, I don't think it would take you to the next one if there's like a section in between. So it might give you some issues, but this is supposed to work when you just arrow to the right through the entire show. So your volunteers, or they can do the space bar, either one, right? So I'm gonna go to this last slide. I'm just hitting the space bar on my keyboard. Hit space bar again, it takes me to the very next verse, right? Like no gap. It just takes you right to it, okay? Whereas with the generic way, without being in focus mode, I think it'll take you to a blank. It'll just sit there because you got to go through the actual new section, and then you'll get your next piece. So if I go here from Genesis 1, hit spacebar one time, it takes me right into Joshua 1. All right. In general, if you don't do that, you would have to hit this. You will go through Joshua, this next title. Like, well, no, this is in the new section, but yeah, toggle focus mode is important, but it alleviates all the wording down here, and it just allows you to say, hey, it's time for service. I don't need to make any changes. I'm just here to navigate the show. All the changes have been made. All the things have been added. So you can still go into your actions and do all that stuff if you need to and select different things. If you need to go to your sound effects, if you have any of those, all that's still there. But the functionality and the way that you navigate through things is seamless, which I love. Let's see here. Gwelin MJ says, I've noticed that too. Issue also with playing NDI inputs. Also, FreeShow freezes more often after that last update. And so, Gwelin, are you using 1.6.0 or are you using the beta 3? Let me know. And Gwelin, do you have, because I think we last talked, you said that you're looking to, was it you that said you're looking to convert over to FreeShow from ProPresenter? Am I remembering that correctly? And I got something in my eye, you guys, forgive me. But yeah, that's something that's interesting. If everybody's noticing that, Gwelin, let me know which version you're dealing with. If it's 1.6.0 or if it is the beta 3 for 1.6.1. Okay, so you're dealing with beta 3 and you notice some shutdowns. Okay. I haven't got to play with it long enough to notice any of those issues, but I will say that's most likely just because it's a beta. But if you can repeat it, if you can identify where it's actually breaking down, excuse me, that may not be just a beta problem. But if it's just random, maybe not. Okay, so thinking about switching. So Gwelin, do you use Blackmagic devices? That's what I wanted to ask you with your ProPresenter setup. Do you use Blackmagic devices? I'm very curious because I would love to get some feedback from you about this next tip I'm going to give, because I believe if you have more than one Blackmagic device, or if you have a Decklink Duo, there are some not built in, but there's some issues that people have been running into with the way that it's designed currently, because it defaults to having your Blackmagic devices, the first one active. When you turn it on Blackmagic devices, it just defaults to the first one being active. The problem is 2 of them can't be active at the same time. So if you try to turn on another one, the whole program crashes. Okay. And so I'm going to walk through some of the things I've learned about that and figured out with that. But I'm also curious too. I want to figure out, let me go back out. Let's turn off this focus mode. And I want to see, I still want to I would love to figure out where this audio effects lives. Let's see. I got audio, the audio tab. I don't know where it would be in here. I see microphones. Oh, you got the Decklink Duo. Whirling, we got to talk. We got to talk. Send me an email. Send me an email, because have you ever been able to test out the Decklink Duo using FreeShow yet? And if so, how did it work? I want to see what that looks like with you. And so audio effects. This is different than sound effects. What makes an audio effect different is what I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, so Christopher says, oh, audio effects. Makes sense. He said it's in the audio drawer next to the volume slider. So now, there we go. So we've got the equalizer. Oh my goodness. That makes sense now. Wow, wow, wow. So he's adding in the equalizer option. Boom. He's adding in the filter option, like a low pass filter, or I'm guessing a high pass filter. Yep. And notches and peaking and low shelf. Good night. Okay. We've got the gate. That's sweet. That is crazy. My question is, who's going to use that? Like, what do they need that for? So they're running their audio directly through FreeShow. That is so cool. All right. I don't currently do that. Like, let me see. If I go to my audio and turn on my microphones, I just never have played with it enough to know how to do that. Let's see. The noise gate came on. I don't want to turn that on. Let's see. Compressors. I love a good compressor now. I like the compressors. That's always fun. And these are just effects that you can add to your audio as it's coming out. Most likely, if you have a sound system, I don't want to put my head on there, but most likely if you have a sound system, the reality is that you will have the like a built-in audio effects in your soundboard, especially if it's a digital soundboard. If it's not digital, it likely still has one, but it is it may be a separate part of your rack or something like that, right? To where you can have that in there, but it's totally up to you. And then I had an old soundboard. My old soundboard didn't have any audio effects built in. Well, it had some, but they weren't like these. They were just more like the delay and the reverb. I had those effects built in. So I had some of these down here, but that was it. The Rodecaster Video, however, does have pretty much all of these built into it, which is really cool because it's basically like a Rodecaster, or I guess what's it called? Just a Rodecaster, like the podcast device, like the podcast soundboard. It has all that built into it as well. So the Rodecaster Video does as well. Okay. The limiter, this is crazy cool. So you can literally just set your ceiling, set your release. I love that. Reverb, enable, dampening, wetness. Yeah, that's crazy. And so that just dictates how much is it going to be fluctuating or whatnot. The delay. Good night. Okay. And then the stereo shaper. That's crazy. So you can change the width. I don't think you can do anything. Let me see. I'm gonna just turn it on. I'm not doing anything with it, but let's see. So it literally just, oh, now that's fancy. I've never used a stereo shaper before, so I was really curious about that. So it just makes it wider and narrower. Okay. And this is audio that you pass through FreeShow. Okay. So if you don't have the sound effects, the audio effects built into your content, then it would be really useful for you to have. I say built into your content, built into your soundboard, like I used to have. I didn't have that built into my soundboard, so I could run all of my audio through FreeShow, so I can select from the microphones list here. I could plug up my soundboard to my computer and then run the audio through there and then have it on from that. So right now, my Rodecaster video audio is on here, and I don't do anything. I don't really use any of these right now. But if I did that, I would turn this on and then I would select, I'm trying to look at my settings in OBS. For audio, let me see. I'm guessing I'm gonna have to do NDI audio coming out, and that would be where FreeShow would live. If I'm sending this through to OBS, I think I would have to select my NDI audio because it's coming, my audio is passing through from my primary through NDI, and it would come through there. But then again, it may just be a part of my FreeShow primary output as well, based on what I select here from the microphones. You would just turn them on, just unmute them. Like I said, I have not played with this enough to say yay or nay, but right now, I guess, yeah, NDI audio is not active because I'm not playing anything out of FreeShow. But if I were to play a song, let me see. If I go to a song here, let's see. Where's my Welcome to FreeShow Friday song? I thought I put it, I was in here. Yeah. Okay. So if I play this, let me see what my microphones will do. I'm just looking to see if the NDI audio will come on.
Welcome to FreeShow Friday.
Nope, it's not doing anything. So I can hear it. You guys can't hear it, but I'm just testing out to see if it actually does anything. But it doesn't. It doesn't do anything. Okay. So let me stop that. All right. So audio effects, really cool. All you do is, so it's on in the audio tab. And if you go back, you'll see your option to mute your audio. You'll see your levels, and you'll see the effects. And you don't get to see those effects on everything. It's just going to be out of that main that you have. Okay. And here at the bottom right, this is where you would, it says custom audio output. It's set to Rodecaster video and then stereo. So maybe you guys did hear that. Did you guys hear my Welcome to FreeShow Friday song? And then Gwilyn MJ says, are the audio settings saved with the audio being played? In terms of those audio effects, it's tied to your main output. So it is saved to the main output. So it's literally, it's kind of like what I do with OBS. I do the same thing. Okay. So in OBS, you can turn on like a, oh, y'all heard it. Okay, sweet. Cause it is coming out through, through the Rodecaster. That's sweet. All right. So you guys got to see that it wasn't coming through there, but it was going to play through from the Rodecaster video. Right. And so very cool. But the audio settings are saved for the main. So it's just the one main. It's not going to be based on the individual song in that sense. If that's, I think that's what you're asking, Gwilyn, is does it save for a particular song or track or show or project? It literally is your output for your main. Okay. Your individual outputs in terms of, like, for this, for example, I've got my primary is one of my outputs. And then I got my live stream active as well. That's the green screen that you see there. That is not going to vary. They're gonna both get the same treatment from that audio effects. Okay. All right. Let's go back out. Let's see what else we got here. Better focus mode. Okay. Option for audio playlist to auto pause after one song has ended. So audio playlist, if we go back to the audio, we got a lot of stuff going on in the audio. Who's using their playlist? Anybody making any playlists currently? So if I go to here, you got this option now. This, it looks like this A says auto play next, or you can take it off. And it defaults to being on, because I did not come in here and do anything with it. It always defaults to on, and then you can dictate to turn it off. I'm just telling you now, this FreeShow audio setup stuff, it really got a big upgrade in this 6.1 beta, which is going to be the 1.6.1. Full is going to be crazy. These updates. This is really sweet stuff. And forgive me if I seem a little, I'm not winded, but I'm recovering because I just got done running earlier today, and it was a hard run. And like I said, this is just on a treadmill. I'm not an outdoor runner yet, but I would love to in the future. Let's see, project status in the progress item. So the project status is in the progress item now. So if I go over in your stage displays, you can do like the status. I'm gonna just make a new one. If I say new layout down here, so I'm gonna call this one project status test. All right. So under your stage, you got options to make as many layouts as you want. If you want to get all these different layouts, I have a package on my website you can go to and get them. It's called the Confidence um, Launch System. And what it's designed to do is to streamline and simplify your process, where it gives you just by default a bunch of different options for you to set your stage displays to, or your confidence monitors. Is the idea that a lot of folks need, but they don't want to go through the trouble of doing that. And these are actually interactive from an actual like mobile device. So they actually work with the app or with the remote functionality to where you can still use a phone and navigate between the slides with these confidence monitor layouts. And that's what those little next and previous buttons are. So if that's something you're interested in, go to GaryBJr.com, check it out. It's the media system, and it's called Confidence System. All right. So we're going to look at this project status though. So if I select progress, I can select that and it says, okay, type is number, progress, groups, or project. That is crazy. Oh, wow. Okay. So I can see here that I'm in Joshua. So I'm gonna see if I can just make this taller. Okay, there we go. I want it to be bigger. Okay, perfect. So there's that. All right. So I can see my entire service here. That is sweet. And then it just highlights. Man. Okay, so let me select this again. And so it just highlights what you want. So I got a background color completely blank, but you can make this be like a little piece on the side, and then I can turn off the shadow. I don't need that. Let's just turn it off. Oh, shadow. I thought it would just go off. You can't turn it off by just clicking on it like you can in other stuff. So I'll just turn that off here. And blur none. Turn all that down to 0. Come back out. Let's see the shadow. It still has the shadow. Did I miss something? Turn it all the way down here. All right. And then let me see if I go back to items and see if it'll just kind of reset. Nope, it didn't reset. Interesting. All right. But you can adjust the font. I got it set to grow to fit. And so it'll show you the actual project, like what's it called? Project status. Okay. Oh, we didn't do this audio replay gain. I'll come back to that. So project status is in the progress item. And this progress item is really helpful if you're using this for your teams, basically. So it just shows you everything that's in the project. I got worship, Alabaster Box, Agnes D, Build My Life, and all that good stuff. So if I go back here and I say Build My Life and I go back to stage, oh, I didn't select it. I selected it, but I didn't pick the actual slide in there. So it's like, oh, you didn't pick a slide in there, right? But now it highlights Build My Life. Okay. Now I don't know why the shadow is not going away. I've got it set to nothing. Oh, there it goes. It just went away. Perfect. All right. And so you can see here, it highlights what part you're on. Larry Sweeten says, do you have like a stage for teleprompter? I don't use a stage for a teleprompter because a teleprompter is designed to actually move slowly like that, right? I've never set one up that'll do that. I typically, not on a stage layout. I do that typically just on a regular show, right? So you just do that on a regular show because with that, you can put those keyframes. And that's how I know we went over it once. I don't know that I made a video about it yet, but that would be, I'm trying to think, did I record a video? I may have recorded a video with it, but yeah, that would be the way I would do a teleprompter effect, is actually use a regular show, pick just one slide, copy and paste all your content into one text box, make the text box fill the screen, and then put some keyframes on the position of where it is on the y-axis, because the y-axis dictates how high or low it is. And then when you do that, you can make it be at a certain point when it starts down at the bottom of the screen, and then pull the box up and select your keyframe on the settings there. And then when you pull the box up, you can select the keyframe where it is at the end. And this has to do with that timeline option. So instead of me just talking about it, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So in FreeShow now, you can go to toggle timeline. And this is where you actually activate all your keyframe options now. So if I turn that back off, let me see, toggle timeline. Look at this space over here. Okay, there's no little diamonds next to these. When I turn on toggle timeline, you'll see these little diamonds. Now I can like track where and measure and mark, like at a certain point, I want it to be at this height. And then at the next point, I want it to be at another height. And so that's how you would turn on that teleprompter effect. And that's just on a regular slide, right? So that would be my recommendation. I've tested that. I've actually read some scripting and done some videos using FreeShow for that. And it works out perfect. I actually I didn't even use it with the effect going up and down. I just use FreeShow as a teleprompter with a monitor. I've got a monitor right here, right up under my camera now. And what I did was I put it right above my lens on my camera, and and it was a talking head. So I just sat there and looked at the screen, or looked at the monitor, the teleprompter with just a regular monitor. You can use a real teleprompter and put it on like a tablet. Those are there built in functionality, hide your camera and all that stuff at an angle. But I say all that to say that I just made a slideshow that just had all my points on different parts of the show, right? It might have been 15 slides with 15 different points. And I just use FreeShow, and I use my phone to navigate between each one because it was just me. And I just use my phone to navigate, and I recorded myself in that way. And I've done that for a few videos. Yeah, done that quite a bit actually. All right. So let's see here. So we talked about the project status in the progress item, but the audio replay gain from metadata, that one may be what Gwell and MJ was talking about, the audio settings saved with audio being played. That one is going to likely be saved to it. So let's go to the show. When we talk about metadata, I always think about it being here tied to the show. So I see copyright, CCLI, I see duration. Let's see here, song ID, copyright, publisher. It's not in here anywhere that I know of. I see a number, composer. Right-click a show category to change when metadata is displayed. Yep, that's cool. But if I go into my settings here, let me see, because I think there's a general setting for managing metadata. You can do BPMs. I mean, I just typed it in and put it in there myself, actually. But you can add any that you want. But I don't see anything here for it. Let's make sure we understand. So we got the audio replay gain from the metadata. The only thing I can think about is a dynamic value for it, but I don't know if that's what that's about. If we look here, I see audio. Then it goes down to variables. I don't know where that audio replay gain. Audio replay gain. I wonder if it is, because I don't think a song, like in terms of an individual audio track, won't have audio metadata. But let's go to shows. Let me look for FreeShow Friday. I think, yeah, I should have that. Let me see. I don't remember if I saved it or not. So welcome to FreeShow Friday. Let's see what song 2 has. If I got a timeline. I got a timeline to it. And let's see here. Does it show up then? Nope. Duration shows up there, but nothing else. So I don't know what that one is about either. Let's see. I'm gonna go to see what that is. All right, we'll see. All right. Caption item. translation. That's pretty cool. And if you guys don't know, the caption items in the program, it's literally just the items. So if I go to edit, you'll see that if I go to items here, there's a captions option here. So I can turn that on. It automatically brings it up here, and it's literally powered by a web browser. Okay, so you can pick now what you want to translate into. I take that back. Let me see what it said. Yeah, item translation. Yeah, so you can translate it to a certain language. This is the transcription language, and then there's that one, and then it says room ID, translate API key. I have not used this in a while, but you've got to open up a browser for it to work. And I don't remember how to get to that. So I have to revisit that. Google API, Google Translate API key. I have to revisit how to do that because I've not done it in a while in terms of using that. But it was pretty cool, I must admit. Very cool. All right. Let's see here. Export full project as a PDF. Let's see here. And so Christopher said it's invisible with the audio replay gain is invisible. It's just a part of the metadata. So it's just from the metadata. Okay. Got it. Export full project as a PDF. So the full project, not just the actual show. So let's see this full project. If I go to file and I'll say, not import. If I go to file at the top and select export, you can export the current project, the selected shows, and all shows, okay? Or the selected shows. So I'm gonna say current project, and I got PDF. And it gives you some options here. This is really cool because you can say, okay, I just want to do plain text, and it gives it to you that way. This is gonna be really handy. If you want to hand this out, you can just do slides, which is really handy as well. To me, that's like one of the coolest ways to see it. And I can go through, let me see. It doesn't let me change. Let's see, if I go to change the rows, let me go here. Let's see, media, one file, current project. Interesting. Okay, let's go back and let's do default. So this is what it defaults to look like. But this is not my whole project. I guess that's my okay, we go. So that's the alabaster box. No, it won't take me through the whole project for some reason. Let's see if we make this be. It doesn't make them bigger. So original text size, you can change that, which is helpful. Slide numbering, that's fine. 2 of 5. So it's kind of just giving me a preview maybe because, it's just, no, that's not. That's just the page number. So I can take out the page numbers. I don't know what the 29 means, but it's there too. It's got verse. Let's do metadata. Let's turn off groups. Oh, maybe that's the name of a group, number 29. One file. Interesting. But yeah, so you can export this as a PDF. And the 5, I believe, represents 5 items. This is just giving you a preview of it. It doesn't let you go through the entirety of that whole project. Let's see if I do original text size. Okay. Numbered slides. I think that's pretty cool because it just gives you an idea of what to expect in terms of how to use this, in terms of what you might hand this out to your volunteers. I really like this layout. This is the slides layout. And so if we turn off groups, the groups can be helpful. Let me see if I say 2. If we do 1, it looks like that. But if I say 2, that's really helpful. You have more rows. The thing I don't like is it does overlap sometimes, right? So I can't change that. Invert slides. We don't want to do that. Add groups, it just overlaps a little bit. So page numbers, metadata, one file. I'll keep it as one file and I'll say export. And what I expect to happen is it says it's exported. Okay. And let's see. This is called 524 training. Show you guys what it looks like. It goes into your stuff here. Let's see what it looks like. Interesting. It made a big orange page. I don't know what's on that orange page. Oh, that's my section. Interesting. So the section headers are like a full page. Interesting. And then you got that there. So the preview doesn't do it justice. So it does come out better, right? The verses are actually organized and visible. The numbers are not overlapping or anything like that, even though they were on that preview, which I didn't like. This is much better. Yeah, that's really cool. I like the layout of it. This is interesting that it puts that whole thing in there. Kind of neat, right? And then you got the verses there. So you can literally make a handout or a PDF to share your show really easily if you needed to from the program, right? Really clean. I love that. That's really sweet. Okay. And then we got Blackmagic design and NDI improvements and then some other small tweaks. Now we get to talk about Blackmagic. All right. So let's do a stretch break. Look, I need to do a stretch break real quick. Like I said, I've been running, but let me see what else we got going on here. Wonder if the caption will work for a YouTube video. Mark, that's a great question. Would the captions work with a YouTube video? That would be interesting because it is reading what's being said. I don't know that it would keep up if it's like a song, but yeah, that would be interesting. I'm not sure. And I wonder too with YouTube videos, is there a way to turn the captions on and then share that link? Will they come up that way? Like when you copy the link to share and you turn on captions beforehand, will it bring it in with captions? I've never tested that out. But yeah, feel free to test it out. It's hard for me to do live because it'll flag it, but at the same time, that is a really interesting question. Because YouTube has captions built in, right? And so ultimately you just need it to be something that would show the captions. It'd be nice if YouTube did it directly, but FreeShow does have that flexibility, that function. I'm wondering. Okay, so you say you can't get captions to work that way. All right, good to know. Good to know. Let's talk about Blackmagic design. Gwell and MJ, did you try it yet with FreeShow? Let's see here. Did you try Blackmagic design? So let's talk about this. So I go to, not here, I'm gonna go to my edit page in the upper right here. So I'm gonna go to my right screen so you guys can see me and see the settings. If I go to outputs now, Blackmagic has some really cool hardware. No denying it, professional quality stuff. A lot of churches use it, especially if they have SDI cables running through their church. Blackmagic is kind of just the go-to for managing those kind of cables, and which give you just this super long run of space. Like you can run it, 1,000 feet as opposed to like 50 feet with HDMI cable, right? So it gives you a lot of flexibility to do that, but it does cost, right? So you can get these devices. They can range anywhere from, $150, $200 to $1,000 or something like that, depending on what you're investing in. So Gwell and MJ says, tell me what you're thinking about. Because with this setup, this is specifically talking to you right now because you're the only one I've heard right now that says they use Blackmagic. So stay with me on this, especially I would love for you to meet. We got to meet up. Like I said, send me an email so we can talk about how to connect and do some testing on this if you've not tested it yet. But if you have tested it, have you got it to work? Okay, so here's my thought. Right now, if I turn on Blackmagic, what ends up happening is if I have a Blackmagic device connected to my computer, it automatically defaults to being active, the very first one. So you can have as many Blackmagic devices as you want. A Blackmagic device is basically a monitor output, but it's not read by your computer. Okay, your computer won't be able to see it on the display settings. It's literally run through the Blackmagic design software. Okay, so Blackmagic has their own software to allow you to add as many monitors as you want to without any limitations to your computer. Oh, he said he broke his deck link after update. What? All right. Can you send it to us? Look, can we use it and see if we can fix it? I would love that. I was talking to the Free Show team and asked them, does anybody have something? Because Christopher needs to do some testing with the Deck Link Duo because he doesn't have one. But if you've not if you sunset yours and you're looking to get a different one and you can't get that one to work, I would love to get my hands on it to see if we can figure out a way to make it jumpstart. But by all means, feel free to try to figure out how to make it work yourself. I'm not saying that, but the idea is if you have it, do that. Okay, so you got to have a primary. You got to have at least one output active with FreeShow. You can't disable all your outputs. That's the biggest challenge. So I can turn this off, but when I go to live stream, I can't disable my live stream because it's locked in. I got to have at least one output over here. All right. So I'm gonna turn this back on. I'm gonna enable that. But the secret is to enable a dummy output. Okay. When I say dummy output, I just mean one that you're not using that's not necessary. So I would say, hey, I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna just do another one. I'm gonna just call this normal, and I'm gonna call it a. We'll do default, and it jumped to cover my front screen here. Um, but I want it to just be set to an invisible window. Boom. All right. So now it's not going to try to output itself. All right. Now, all that being said, and I can stop this. Let's see. If I turn this off, I don't even need it to be outputting because I'm doing everything through NDI right now. This particular output, it says output one. I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to call this one test. Excuse me. You can call it filler. You can call it, blank, whatever. Turn this one on. Okay. Don't activate Blackmagic Design with it. And then disable all your other outputs. All right. Then go back into those outputs. So I'm gonna go to primary, and then you can enable Blackmagic now, and it won't jump and crash the system because it's just gonna open up, but it's not an active output, so it's not trying to do anything special. So now you can go in and you can pick the Blackmagic design. It'll be a list of them down here if you have devices. I don't have any plugged up. I don't have any devices, period. And so, Gwendolyn, I am kind of serious about that request. If you do not need it, let me know. Don't want it, I should say. Let us know. So that would allow it to be set and keep it disabled. Then go to your other output, right? So I'm gonna go to my live stream. I can turn on Blackmagic Design there, and now it pops up and it's gonna show the first one on the list for Blackmagic Design, but I may have selected something different on my primary, but it doesn't matter because my primary is disabled. Okay, so it's not going to cause the system to crash. Is the idea behind this all? That's why I need to test it out. Yeah, I've got it to work with Blackmagic Ultra Ultra. I think it's called Ultra Studio Monitor. Somebody had multiples of those, and I believe it's very similar in terms of the way it's going to function. I just haven't got to test it out on the deck link. And so the way that we were able to test it out with that was this particular process. We made a generic output, kept it active, and everything else we deactivated and then set them to where we needed them to be. And when you do that, you'll have the option to set the frame rate, the output resolution, and all that good stuff. Really, really cool the way Blackmagic is working, the way it's designed to work. So if you do not, or if you do have limitations on your computer for the outputs, this is for those who use a Mac, especially. Most Macs can't support more than two outputs, two windows or two screens. But with the Blackmagic device, you don't have that limitation because it's not even going through the limitations of your displays on your computer. It's actually making its own separate. It's a plug-in or program on your computer, and it's sending it out to its own device from its own software. Really, really cool. So all that to say, that's what you would do. All right. So I'm gonna turn this back off. I'll do some testing with it next week with some customers that I know of that have it, that have Blackmagic devices. But I just wanted to put that bug in you guys' ear. If you ever decide to invest in those, Free Show does support it, which is great. But it is not designed. I say not designed. The testing of it, the way it was designed, Christopher had a Blackmagic, I think a Studio Blackmagic Ultra monitor or something like that, which was one device. And so it works perfectly fine. But when you have a duo, a Decklink Duo, it's actually two outputs in one device. And so they both default to the same output, but you got to bypass that. And so that dummy account will help you bypass that. All right. Let's go back into here, but we're going to go into some studio or community questions. And let me make sure. Let's see a text edit context. I don't think I talked about this text edit context options. I don't even know what that is. Improved auto slide group, right? But text edit context, let's go here, show. And if I go to edit, I'm gonna turn off the timeline. We got this option here to go into text edit. And for whatever reason, there's something that's called context. I don't know what the context is. Let's see. If I right click, it doesn't do anything, but that is really cool. Let me see. Let me see if I can bother Christopher again. I know he's busy living his life. Let me delete that. All right. Okay. So if he has time, he'll be able to answer that. But if not, no worries. Drop slides on preview to set as a specific output. I don't remember testing this out. So drop slides on preview to set as specific output. That's crazy. Okay. So I'm gonna find out about this text edit context. I'm not sure what that is. I'm guessing it's from here though. With the text edit option, you can literally just, edit your text. You can make it have not page breaks, but slide breaks wherever you want to. So if I want this to be one line, I can hit enter here, and now that particular song, that slide where the chorus is, the very first one, it's going to break it up into be two separate slides now. Let's see, a chorus. You'll see those are broken up now, right? I can go back in, and that's slides 5 and 6. I can break that to put it back. So from every nation, every land, go back on the chorus. Now it's back to one slide, right? That's what text edit is. In ProPresenter, I think they call it the reflow editor or something like that. But FreeShow's had it, I think, forever. I don't know how long it's been there, but it's that editing process has been there for a long time. All right, really useful, really helpful. But this whole idea of selecting a specific output, that's crazy. So I can drag this slide onto here, and it makes it only show up on that output. So now, if I go here, you can see that I've got my if I go here, let's see. See this particular song, I don't even know what this is. What is that? Activate on MIDI. Oh, it's playing with that. Okay. I was like, what is that? All right. So all of my slides are designed to show up on my lower thirds and on my primary output. Right. Gonna do that. But I drag this one onto the primary. And now when I select this one, yeah, it doesn't affect that. So this says I'm Gary, but this says welcome to Free Show Friday because I've got it set to the primary. So when I go here now, you'll see that shows up there, and then the live stream is blank. So if you want a specific slide to go to a specific output, just drag it onto that output. That is crazy. Just a specific one, not the whole show or anything like that. Just that specific one, you can do that, and then you can delete that by hovering over it, making it red, and say remove specific outputs. All right. Very cool effect and very cool feature for specific slides to go out. Really handy. All right. Let's see. Drop slides on preview. That's what we just talked about. Output style should use any custom first slide template. Okay. And then actions for controlling OBS Studio and for controlling Spotify. I think we talked about that last time. Hey, good morning from Tahiti, French Polynesia. Nice. This is a Foley 7644. Welcome, welcome, my friend. And then Gorlin MJ says this is easier than reflow and ProPresenter. I love to hear stuff like that, man. I'm gonna make a video, and I'm gonna probably call it reflow in free show. but better. Like reflow and free show, but better. Something like that. I don't know. But I do think that there's a lot that free show does that is just different. I'm gonna say different. I like your word better, but I'm gonna say different than ProPresenter, and it's usually gonna be more user friendly to me. So I love that. I love that. Did you guys see the controllers or the actions for controlling OBS and Spotify? I can't remember if we talked about that, but if you go to your functions down here and you go to actions, you can now see if you make a new action, you can say, I'm gonna say Spotify next. And I say choose action. I can scroll down and this is the default stuff, right? So the default stuff doesn't show anything for it. Okay. But if I turn on this eyeball that says more options, we got more options, which is really cool. So now I'm gonna scroll through. It's a lot more in this list. Let's see, there's audio. I'm looking for Spotify. There we go. So we got the audio, the Spotify next, the previous, the fade out, the pause, and the play. So I can select that. And now I can control Spotify with that action. So I can drag that particular action. So when I close this out, I think I just called it Spotify next. This is where I got a lot of stuff in, right? I understand the confusion with it. So I got this Spotify next. It looks like a little arrow point to the right, right? Like a next slide. But our next song, there it is. I can drag it onto any show or any slide and it'll go to the next show or next Spotify song when I get there if I'm playing Spotify. So you need to download the Spotify desktop player. You know, if you log in, you know, you can be able to play songs and all that stuff. If you pay for Spotify, there's no commercials, right? I don't pay for it, but I also can't play it. But at the same time, you can control it from Free Show. It's kind of cool. All right. Let's see here. Gwilyn MJ says, can you set a specific slide or show to show 3 lines while the default setting is 2 lines? Can you set a specific slide? I don't see why not. Let me see. You should be able to go into your edit page. And I'm gonna select this third slide. I don't have anything that has that many lines, but I'm gonna show you what you can do. On the specific slide, you can go over here, this little arrow up here on the right, and you can do a slide template. When you do that, you can make a template, you know, pre-make one that has 3 lines on it and pick it for that particular slide and it'll override. Okay, so yes, you can. You can set it in the edit page. So under edit, you can adjust that and it'll allow you to set that specific slide to have a different template than the rest of the show. And I believe when that was implemented, it overrides the style, and I believe it definitely overrides the show template for sure. But I think it'll override the style as well. Okay, because that's very intentional, right? You want to be very specific with that. Okay, here you go. Here's something very specific. All right. Great question. Great question, by the way. And I haven't seen many questions. I think that might have been it's not the first question, but the first question I think I could help with. Somebody asked about the internet or about their YouTube stuff. Right. Okay, so let's talk about some other things here. So there is a question or two that came in this week. And I'm gonna go through, let's see. All these are a few days. We got a few questions. Okay, so this is the last one I commented and responded to. I'll let people know where I commented and when I respond in Free Show. I'll say, hey, answer that on Free Show Friday. All right. So this is one that came in. This is Atisa John Mark. All right. So Atisa says, I have been having a challenge with my templates. I cannot change the default template of my shows slides unless I change them from the style section. Could you help me out? How I can use templates from my template drawer to override the styles without directly changing the style applied. And so what I did is I said, hey friend, you may benefit more from applying templates to your categories rather than a style for your outputs, right? And so I talked about going to watching another in the lab, or in the lab, not necessarily this. This is Free Show Friday, but in the lab I go live on Mondays, and I actually talked about this on Monday this week, right? So that's just this week. We talked about templates, and the cool thing about it was what he was trying to, what I understand at least, Atisa John Mark was trying to do was trying to have better control over certain parts of the show. Okay. And so, or of the project, right? So let's talk about that real quick. And Atisa John Mark, tell me if that answered your question or not. I don't see a response to you from you here. So I know that you were on earlier. Let me know if you're still on and if this makes sense to you. So if we go to show at the top, it's kind of like the home page, right? We'll go down to shows on the bottom left. You'll have all of your categories. All right. All of your categories can be listed. You can organize these however you want to. These categories serve as kind of like your card catalog for all of your shows, right? So it's literally laying out how you can find any show you want to because you've organized it in that particular folder or catalog, when you created it, or you just drag them in. You can drag these wherever you want to. And if you notice on my songs, I've got a template preset called Blur Box. But for scriptures, I can right click and set a different category template. Okay. Now, which is not a big deal because scriptures and songs, you can always break out a different, template for those. But if I go here, let's see, maybe for my scriptures, I want to use, I got to scroll through a lot because I got quite a bit, but I'm looking for scripture stuff. That's text, small sports. Okay. Scripture, lower thirds. All right. I got these here. So I've got this lower third option and I got this one. I think I like, we'll do this one. All right. So now every time I show a scripture, it's going to default to that little OSW template I made. But let's check my settings for my primary. So for my primary, I got the default style. All right. The default style is, let me go to styles. I'm just going to look at it from here. It doesn't have an override scripture with template. Okay. So I'm going to turn this on. Let's see. I'm going to select override scripture with template. And I want it to just be the big with the back box. All right. So now that's my override. And I'm going to go to scripture. Let's see what we got. I'm going to select that. Yep, it overrides, even though that scripture is in there. I believe, look, this Genesis, yep, it's in here. So it will get overridden by that particular style. So I would just turn the styles off, okay? So if I go back in here and I turn off that particular default style, and I go back to show, notice what my show looks like now. Everything looks like that lower thirds version, okay? Because that particular category had a template tied to it. This is really cool because now you can say, you know what, I'm going to do a fast song category, a slow song category over here on the left. You can just drag your songs in where you want. So different songs will have different templates, right? You might say, I don't know, Old Testament scripture template and a New Testament scripture template, and they can be different, right? So you can literally make your categories be your differentiator for the look of your show and never even deal with styles. You still make your templates, right? And when you make your template, you would tie your template to your category, okay? So that's the way that would work. So I can go back and I can turn that off and say none and hit that. And let's see here. Let's see what happens if I go to this one. It goes to that, which is the default. Let me go back here. Oh, I turned that off. I don't know why that got locked. If I go back here, this stayed the same. It kept that same template. So I would have to apply a new template to that particular one, that one show that I did have that description on there for. This is a shout out to Tony Mobley's church here. Let me see if I select that, what it'll do. So it shows up like that. Yep. I like that. And then I can clear my background. And I thought his template had a background too. Oh, I got it set to transparent. Let me see. So my primary right now, that primary output is set to transparent and it shouldn't be. All right. There we go. So now you'll see the full template for that one, which is different from the template for this one. Okay. So you can do that. You can apply backgrounds to your templates if you wanted to. Totally up to you. All right. But that is a long answer to a fairly short question. But to Atisa John Mark DZ9GT, you can do a lot with your templates, and I would recommend doing it from the categories to kind of give you that customization you're looking for. All right. Let's see here. Larry Sweeting says, do you use slides and download videos for your intro video? Do you use slides and download videos? Let me just show you my intro video, and then you can tell me, because I'm not sure how you would categorize what I've done. So let's see, under shows, I got a Free Show Friday category. Okay. I got my Free Show Friday countdown, and this is what it looks like. And I made this maybe a year ago, maybe a few months ago. And I added to it. I added this to it like in December or something like that. But I've had this for a long time. And so what I did was I had, this is actually let me go in here to I got a lot of these locked off. But if I go to edit, you'll see that I can't really do anything to this because I got it locked. You see over there, that's a really cool feature that I set up here. So this is just a video. So it's an 8-second video that I did create on, I made it on DaVinci Resolve. And yes, this is just one of the templates in DaVinci Resolve, the word movement and all that kind of stuff. That's just a template in DaVinci Resolve. So it's a little 8-second video that I use as a buffer between some things. So you'll see it here. And then after that video, I put that same buffer back in there, same 8-second video, right? So this is an 8-second video that has a bunch of actions to it. So it's going to start the playlist. It's going to, I had it set to do something to OBS, but I don't even use that anymore because I don't even use that feature. It's set to run, it says Free Show to default on primary. That's an action. And then it is set to run action start timer, right? So I got a bunch of actions to it, and then I've got it set to where it's an overlay with it, or it's set to remove overlays, and it's set to unmute. Okay. It's set to mute. I'm sorry. So it's got an overlay and it's set to mute. That's what that is. And then here it's set to go to next on media finish, and it goes to another video. This video does not have any audio with it because all of my audio was playing from that playlist, the live stream playlist. So this is another video. And so all of these are basically just videos that I pre-made, downloaded to the program, or put them in my a video folder somewhere, and point Free Show to and just drag these videos on. And you'll notice that each of them have their own specific actions, right? So this one, for example, when I get to this video, it's 8 seconds long, and it's designed to clear overlay, so it won't show the timer or the little scroll at the bottom. And then this one is set to clear any music. So it stops the playlist because these kids are talking for that promo. Excuse me. And then it has a overlay over it with the little QR code if you want to watch that video, that documentary that I made. And then it has the next on media finish as well. So when it's done, it goes to the little 8-second one, which starts another playlist, and it goes into another video that's a minute long that just goes through completely muted. And the video on the playlist, though, the audio on the playlist is playing. So all these are just videos. They're just short videos. And then this is just a generic slide down here that I put a 5-second timer on. So your question was, do you use slides and download videos for your intro video? Yes, these are videos that I've created, save them to my computer, and then just pointed them. I don't know where they live in here. So my media, I think it's just Free Show Friday, intro, outro. Those are all the items for it. And I just drag them in there, and they just live there. It's just a show that's pre-made. I don't really do a lot of updates to it. And I could, I'm not going to shoot on myself, but I could update this one, for example, the thumbnails, to have some of the newer thumbnails. I've just been doing a lot of live streaming as opposed to official videos. And so these are just some kind of throwbacks. And then the Africa and the worldwide videos, those are videos I made literally probably over a year ago now. And they were just showing the YouTube reach, right? And they were showing what that looks like in the program, or in YouTube, in terms of the reach of different countries everybody's from. So yeah, mostly all videos and some actions tied to it, all from Free Show. And then I just output that to OBS as a primary NDI feed. It's just an NDI feed in OBS. And that's how I start my show. And I actually have that. So the cool thing is the way I start the show is kind of fun. At least it's fun to me. So if I go to my calendar, you'll see, what's today? What month is it? This is May. Okay, so if I go to May, there we go, May 22nd. If I select that, you'll see that it has at 10:50, I start a beginning shortly 5-minute video or 5-minute show. It's not 5 minutes long, it's just a loop show and it just plays for 5 minutes. And then at 10:55 is when I start this one. And I just have that set to schedule to start on its own. It's always just going to play at 10:55. Okay. And then I just have to make sure I'm ready to go live. And when I'm ready to go live, it'll just be playing on my free show primary. And I just go live with it. Okay. All right. So let's see if there's more questions on the community page on YouTube. Let's see here. Hello, Gary. Thanks for very insightful video. Question: have you used or do you have any videos explaining how to use FreeShow with Ecamm? Thanks in advance for your time. And so this was in response to the iPad control video that was released recently. And this particular video, I talk about the functionality of how, to me, it's been much improved with the FreeShow remote feature, right? So that remote feature in the program. So if you go to settings and you go to your connection and you turn on remote show, it literally gives you a lot of flexibility to control pretty much everything in FreeShow in terms of changing scriptures, changing slides, changing projects, a lot of different things, all from your iPad or a phone even. And it's been much improved. So I made that video, and this person, M Boogie 66, said, do I have anything about how to use Ecamm? Unfortunately, I've never used Ecamm Live. I've heard a lot about it, and I thought somebody had made something about it. It's a gentleman named Johnson Olacotton, I believe is his name. He's made a lot of free show videos, and I think when I looked, it was actually vMix, because I was going to just recommend that video here, but he used a program called vMix, which I've never used as well. So if anybody ever asked me about it, I would just point them to his video. But I've not seen a video about how to use it with Ecamm, but I will say it's going to probably be very similar to how you use it with vMix or how to use it with OBS. And so in Boogie, I would definitely just check it out based on that, especially if Ecamm can accept NDI, I would just do that. And I'll just make a note. I'll reply to that as well. Let me see. I'll look at the OBS video. And you should find a lot of similarity. That would be my thought, at least. And like I said, that's me not using that program. All right. Another question came in. This is Mr. Terry Ray. He and I have been having some conversation about this. So he says, Gary, I'm missing something. After I created an action, the timer shows in my stage display, but the text does not. My stage display shows welcome to church, and the timer displays. When the timer finishes, the in-house timer has switched to the next slide, and my stage display shows welcome to church, 0 countdown. Could you please tell me what I'm missing? And I just said, I'm not sure. It sounds like your countdown's not showing in your primary output. And he says, hey, Gary, it shows on the primary output, but not on the stage. Okay. As I've been thinking about it, it maybe it is something to do with the styles on the stage output, or maybe a lack of them. So the styles on the stage output. So stage outputs have layouts. And so I was like, okay. He said, now that I think about it, the problem is the text from the first slide doesn't display on the stage display, only the time. And that's a better description of the problem. I don't know if it has anything to do with styles. Said, if you created a customized, he says, I did. My stage layout has a text box and a timer. All right. So Mr. Terry Ray says, the text from the first slide doesn't display in the stage display, but he does say that his stage layout has a text box and a timer. Okay. The stage text doesn't show, but the stage display does have a text box, and it has a timer separate. Okay. So let's talk about this real quick. So if I go to my stage, and we're going to clear this out, and we're going to try to mirror what you got. So Mr. Terry Ray, if you talk to me about something related to what your stage looks like on your stage layout, because I want to try to mirror that. In the meantime, let me see what questions came in. Let's see here. Okay, Larry Sweeting says, is there a way to add slides and make them into a video, or would you suggest to just loop the slides? for announcements in the lobby. Oh, definitely. I would just loop it for sure. I would, but I say for sure. You can use like Canva or something and put a series of slides together and make a video and just set the timers and all that stuff in there, and then export that as an MP4, as a video, whatever it is, and still put it into FreeShow, but still you need to make it loop. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. It's one way or the other. It's going to need to still be set to loop in FreeShow, whether it's a video or it's a series of slides. To me, you have more control over the series of slides. This is a great question, Larry. So while I'm waiting, if Mr. Terry Ray is still on, please let me know what your stage layout looks like. In the meantime, let me jump into this point real quick. So he's talking about, let's talk about an announcement slide that would play in the lobby. Cool thing is the FreeShow allows you to do all of that. Like, it allows you to have multiple outputs coming from the computer out the wazoo or out of NDI, whatever, however many you want to. No limitation. It's just the limit of whatever your computer can sustain, right? Or multiple computers. And so now we want to make a stage display or a loop announcement slide. I would make it be a series of different videos if you have a video, right? But I wouldn't make it have audio with the video. I'd make it be muted. And then you also could add in images. And the cool thing about it is if you do this, like for example, the way I got mine set up now, if I wanted to add a image into it, I can adjust it pretty easily. So for my In the Lab intro, let me show you guys what In the Lab looks like. Really basic. It has one slide here, a video, and then another slide. Okay, and that's it. Now, and then it cuts to this whole video piece, which I don't even need that. I'm gonna delete that. It's not necessary. I'll just right click on it and delete. It's supposed to go to a video feed, but I don't need that. All right. And so these are actual images. Okay, these are actual slide images. And so when I hit that, it actually starts playing the audio for it. Let me clear the audio. But that's designed, and it starts a little timer and all this kind of stuff, right? So it just has a little graphic image of me. But this particular content right here is something I designed in Canva. It's just a simple slide, okay? Just a simple flyer, I guess you could call it, in Canva, right? But when I export or download that, I export it out of Canva, download it to my computer basically. And when I do that, I just go to my media downloads folder. Oh, let me pause this. Let me clear that out. It's actually playing through the whole thing because everything's on a timer on here. So this is going to play for 30 seconds and it's going to go to that. And then this is just going to sit here, right? And the timer's going to keep going. But we don't need that. Excuse me. So I'm going to pause the whole thing. All right. The cool thing is I can easily replace this particular slide by just going to my media and just dragging any other video or any other slide I want to right on top of it. And that's literally what I do. I can go to my downloads and I just do a search for In the Lab. Because when I download it from Canva, I call it In the Lab. And I can just replace it. So I can drag this one that says episode 4 right on top of there. And this doesn't take away the overlay. It doesn't impact the music or anything like that. And I would just do that same one right there on top of that one. And so you can easily update your slides if you have them separate in FreeShow. If you put them all together in a video on Canva, you got to continuously go back and remake that video if you put them all together. In here, you can just make it be one big slideshow. It just replace different slides by just dragging right on top of it as things change in the ministry. So you might have your upcoming, maybe you guys have a holiday celebration picnic for the spring, not even a holiday, just a spring celebration picnic. And then you also have a back to school rally in near the fall. But you don't need that spring flyer anymore because you're already done with that. You can put that back to school slide on top of it to replace it. And it always plays in the same place, but your next upcoming event, you just replace that until that event is done and then just replace it with the next slide. So you got a lot more flexibility where you don't have to go through so many different programs and jump through so many hoops to make a change. Just edit it on Canva, download it, and then just drag it on the slide you want to in FreeShow. Instead of having to edit on Canva, export a video in Canva, bring the video in here, replace the video, you're doing it unnecessarily, right? You're exporting a video, which takes time in Canva. They don't do that too fast, but maybe I think that's pretty generic, right? That's not anything related to internet speed. It's just Canva has to process videos. All right. So yes, I would say make your announcement loops for your lobby or wherever you're going to play them in FreeShow. Get cool graphics, make your stuff how you want to in Canva or Photoshop, wherever you do it. But just put it in a folder on your computer and just drag it into your show. right? It'll keep all the timing. And then for your loop, to make this loop, I just right click on this and then go to slide actions and just say go to start. That's what makes it loop, right? When you have multiple slides. The last slide, just right click on it, slide actions, and then say go to start. And it'll just start all over again. And as long as everything has a timer on it, right? So you go here, you say slide actions, you say, okay, next slide timer. If it's just an image, you can say, I want this to be on there for 10 seconds, 7 seconds. Anywhere from that 5 to 10-second range is usually pretty safe, but it depends on how much text you got on that particular, flyer. And so if you got a lot of text, I would lean towards that 10-second mark or even more. If it's just one word, one, basic slide that just has 1 or 2 words on it, it could be up for 3 or 4 seconds, right? It just says, it just shows the church website. Boom. Visit our church website. It just has that in the middle, and then it just has a QR code maybe that can stay up for 5 seconds. And you can put it in every other slide, right? So you got flexibility to do all kinds of cool stuff with that. And that's the kind of stuff that, for me, I love as a consultant to help churches customize what they want using this software, because it can be so robust. They may not even know the features that it can support and it can do. So if you guys ever have questions about things like that, and you want to set up a consultation, that would be ideal, because now we can jump into, what you want. You just got to figure out how to do it. That's where I can come in and really help you out in terms of setting up those consultations. So definitely go to the website and set up something like that if you have a question about it. Let's see here. So Lenny Richardson 4415 says, I use a 10-second timer on our slides and then have the latest slide go back to the front. Exactly what I was talking about. You absolutely, I agree. I say the same thing, Lenny, because it gives you that flexibility. Mr. Terry Ray chimes in. He says, hey, the stage display has a text box with the text in it called session 1, and the timer is also on the stage. Okay. So let's go back to this question. So the text box here is the issue. So if you just got it with a text box, you're going to have an issue. What I would do is select the option that says slide text. And when you do that, now your text box is going to respond to whatever's in your show. That would be my first step to give you, is that it sounds like you probably just added a generic text box from the items menu over here. And that is cool. You can do that for a lot of different things, but in a stage display, you want your text box somewhere. At least 1 or 2 of your text boxes need to be something from the current actual slide that's showing up. And so when you select the slide, it pops in and then it automatically updates itself to say next slide. So I select this again, it automatically comes in. Now these are 2 different boxes. They both are text boxes, but they are the current slide and the next slide by default. Okay, so now I can make these be as big or small as I want to. I'll pull this to be a little bit smaller, drag it up, and then I'm gonna add in, go back to my items, and I'll go to my timer. Okay, so I got my timer here. I can set which timer I want it to be, right? So you can pick any of your timers you want. So you might have an opening countdown timer. You might have a worship timer, whatever you want. You put those in here however you need to, or you can just say first active. So if there's a timer that's active in your show, it'll show up here. This is a pretty generic way to do it, that most people don't have multiple timers going at the same time. If you do, it's just going to pick the one with, I think it's just the top one on the alphabet, whatever it is. It's not going to show multiple timers, even if they 2 are running. So you would want to make room if you want to run 2 at the same time. So make a separate one and then dictate which timer that is. But let's say this is your setup without the text box that you made. Now, when I go to any show, let's see here. I'll do a song, and I always go to those first ones. So I'm gonna go down to something that we don't see often. Let's do praise. All right. So when I select this now on my stage, I don't have it active, but you'll see it shows the current slide text, because that's what's currently on the slide. This is really what's showing up. Okay. And then, and let me clear out, I'll clear that in a second, but it's got an overlay with it. I'll clear the overlay out. And then it shows you here what's coming up next. Let everything that has breath, right? So if I go to show, you'll see that let everything that has breath is the next slide. With your stage displays, that's usually the best way to set them up, is to have a current slide text and a next slide text at the very least. You can add in some custom text boxes if you want to, but unless you're putting a variable in there, like a variable that you can control, it really doesn't serve a big purpose, okay? Let me know if that helps you out, Mr. Terry Ray, because I think that's probably the issue. When you said you got that text box in there and it's called session 1, it sounds like you've customized and just put a text box that says session 1. It's not going to reflect what you're showing on your show. It's just going to reflect what you put in there, and it's called session 1. Okay. Let me clear out that overlay just so it's accurate to what I would say. Okay, so that's a good point. I'm glad you were on to talk about that. Let's see here. Toshiba Gates says, thank you. I just started using FreeShow and have spent hours learning from you. This is a game changer. I just had to add an on-the-fly verse, and it took me a minute to pull it up because I had to scroll. Wow, wow, wow. All right. And so this was a really cool video called The Best Ways to Search Scripture in FreeShow. There have been a few updates to it since then, but this is a big deal because it helps you get flexibility to navigate the program with ease on a way that makes sense for you. Some people like to do a quick verse search. Some people like to do they like to see I call it the dragging around, like, I don't know what you call this, but the scroll down, right? I like this particular layout personally because it's just in biblical order, right? In the order of the Bible. Easy, and I know where to go to pretty easily. But also, that's only for when I'm making it myself, right? I know I'm looking for the John chapter 4, then I know what I'm looking for, and I'll just go to that particular verse and make it. This is like really good for pre-service, right? Where you're prepping, right? Maybe a week before or a few days before service, you know exactly what you're looking for. This is a really cool layout. Some people, though, will prefer this layout because now it's a lot easier. So I can easily say John 4, and then I can see a list of these verses without all the words in the way, right? I can go to 420 or 418 or 417, whatever it is, really easily. And I can just make my show from there. Now, I have not tried this. Let me see. If I hit Shift, yep, you can still hold down Shift and select multiple verses. Right click on that, convert them to a show. Really cool setup, really simple. And then others still prefer the search bar, right? Where I can easily just type in Matt 633 and it shows up. Okay. And then I can hit enter and I can set my enter. Now, this is not in that video for Find versus Fast, but now you can set what enter does. When I press enter, I want to add it to a project, but I can swap that and make it so when I press enter, it just makes it play in my preview or in the output, itself, which is a really big deal. All right. No comments yet. Mr. Terry Ray, let me know. Did that make sense for what I said earlier about your setup? All right, let's see here. Del Pabli says, I'm not even going to try to not say that in a different language because I don't know what it said. Let me see. On my phone, and let me translate this. But they had a question, and let me see if I can figure out what their question is based on their answer. I said, simply go to FreeShow and click the clear text layer icon under clear all in the right column. Okay. So their question was, they was talking about Zoom with lower thirds. All right. So I showed a really cool way to use Zoom with FreeShow and show your face and your lower thirds all at the same time. And it was a simple share screen, right? And all we didn't even use OBS. We just used FreeShow and Zoom. And in Zoom, we did a share screen. And so with FreeShow, many of you all know this, but some of you don't. But in FreeShow, if you have a camera connected to your computer, you can go to media and select cameras, and all your cameras show up, right? And so all the cameras will show up here. And so I've got my FaceTime, my NDI, and then I got my Blackmagic Design, and then I got my Rodecaster video. So if I were to change this will be hard here. Let me think. My current layout is not going to make a lot of sense because it's going to block it all. But let's just use my my FaceTime camera. All right, I was pointed down, but we'll use my FaceTime camera as a backdrop. So in that video, I was saying, hey, you can make your background be you, a video of you, okay? And so when I do that, I don't need to have my little circle on. So I got the video of me down there, okay? I got the video of me showing on the main screen. And then I would change this to be like a lower third setup, right? So I would go to my templates and I'm gonna pick that OSW one. That's a tribute to my wife. Let me see here, lower third script. This is the song. So I'll do lower third song. I don't have any OSW for that, but I'll pick this one. So I'll say transparent lower third. And it says what you're override. So this show is in a category template. All right. So the category template is overriding everything that I select down here. So let me turn that off real quick. And so this is where you can make a separate category for lower thirds if you wanted to. But I'm gonna turn off the song category template and simply make it be none. Turn it off there. And so now when I go to here, let's go to my outputs, my primary. Okay, it's not invisible. I'm like, why is it acting like it's invisible? But oh, it actually it makes it lock. I don't know why it does that. It's not invisible. Okay, it's a black screen. Perfect. When I do my template now for lower thirds for songs, so this is a song, I can click that. And now when I play this song, check it out. The lyrics will show up at the bottom. And now I'm sharing my screen. So this is my screen in FreeShow. I would turn that on and then go into Zoom and share this screen. So I may have done it. I might have used OBS. I can't remember if I used OBS or not for this. And so this is my lower camera. It looks kind of funny. It's hilarious. Looking down under my chin and everything. But this is a really cool setup. And so the question was, how do we get rid of the text and keep the video? Which makes a lot of sense, right? How do we get rid of the text? Let me make sure I said that right. Let's see here. Yep, hit clear the text section. So when you have this set up, all you have to do is hit this little icon here on the right. Under clear all, you can just clear the text and now you still just have the full video, okay? And then if you want to, just click on another slide and it'll automatically bring it back in. Really, really cool, okay? And so that was the answer to that question for that particular question. This was Del Pabli. I'm probably butchering that, forgive me. And then this was another one. This is sounds like what Gwirl and MJ said earlier, but I talked about bold colors in FreeShow, okay? And this is Chelmsford Stanling Worship. Oh, Chelmsford SA Online Worship 4821. They said it looks better than ProPresenter now, okay, in terms of the way that you can make your colors bold, like how I got this as messages and I got worship here. The way I did that is I went to my settings and I just set to general and I said, hey, turn on high contrast colors. If I turn it off, this is what it looks like. It just puts a little box around it, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Really clean, really simple. Everything's still a reflection of my theme that I've selected. But if I want it to be different, I want this to be bold. I go over to the settings, go to general, and then select high contrast colors. And now that orange is now a block for that particular section breakout. So if you do a traditional layout, then that would be really helpful. Oh, Mr. Terry Ray says he got called away. Can I repeat? Yeah. Okay, so you should be able to catch it on replay as well, but I'll tell you exactly what we did. So let's go back to stage real quick, and then we'll wrap up here. I don't know how long we've been. Oh, it's almost 2 hours in. All right, we're good. We're good. For this setup, Mr. Terry Ray, I'm gonna go back and clear out my stage layout. And you told us that you had a text box. So this text box is cool. It's just a text box though, right? It doesn't reflect anything dynamically. So you said your text box says session 1. Okay, that's fine. But the issue is if you just do a text box, it won't reflect what's on your show, okay, or on your slides. We want to make this reflect what's on our slides. So let me turn my circle back on. And so the way you do that is you would go over to this top option that says slide text, okay? You want to have a space for slide text because that's going to reflect what's on the slide. So if your slide said welcome, that's going to show up here on the stage now, okay? And then with the items, go back and then you'll notice that this particular top option for slide text dynamically adjusts. So it says next slide now. I can bring that in and I can slide that around to where I need it and make that fit in that space there. And then I can go to items again and add in that timer. We got the timer here, ready to rock and roll. All right. And then you can pick which timer it is. First active timer is usually best case because it'll show any timers that are running on the program. If you select a specific timer, what it's going to do is it's only going to play that timer. And when that timer is down to 0, it's going to be at 0 and it's never going to change even if you play another timer. All right. Most people, I was saying earlier, don't use 2 timers at the same time. But if you do, then you may need to adjust and pick, you might make room for multiple timers in here if you want to have them all specific. All right. But I think the solution for your issue, Mr. Terry Ray, was to make sure you do this first option. Instead of just a text box that just says session 1, do a slide text box. And that'll reflect, and it should show what's on your slide, which I think we talked about says welcome. And then your timer will be a timer down here. All right. All right, you all, what other questions come to mind? I don't have anything else from the community. We went through the beta 3 updates. I think I got all the questions that Christopher was able to help me answer. Oh, let's see. Oh, for that text edit option, he got back with me on that. I appreciate that, Christopher. I know he's busy, and I send him stuff all the time, and he's really responsive and helping make sure we can support the community. So big shout out whenever you guys see anything from Christopher. Know that he is a busy man, and he's always working on our behalf, which I'm grateful for. If I go to edit now and I do this text edit option, he said you can select this and you can right click now. Let's see. If you right click text, you get cut, copy, paste, select all buttons now. If I right click text, let's see. If I right click here, I don't see that. He said you should be able to see the copy and paste options. Text edit context. I don't see the text edit context. Let me see. If I right click on this, I just see the quick search. Let me just type in and let him know. I just see quick search when I right click. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure about why that's doing that, but yeah, that's not what he's expecting it to do, I don't think, because from this text edit, he's saying you should be able to right click and see something. But let me see something. Maybe if I go back to show and I change the layout here, because you can do, what is this layout called? It's called list view. So I don't think that's it either. So if I right click in here, I do see paste and select all here. Oh, in a text box. Let's see, in a text box. Oh, so in here now, he's saying we got that option. I got you. I got you. So I can right click on that and I can see cut, copy, paste. Oh, I jumped the gun and went all the way to text edit, but he's just saying in a text box edit, you can literally just change that. Really sweet, really sweet. All right. So I can paste in, or I can select this and right click and cut, copy, and all that good stuff. Very cool. All right. So we went through all the, not say all, we got to see a rundown or preview of a lot of those preview beta updates. Okay. A lot of those beta updates, we got to go through each of those, and Christopher was on hand to really help us with the ones I had no clue about, which is awesome. And so if you guys don't have any other questions for me, that's all I got for you. I think, let me see something. Did I make a video? I made a button, I think, for my outro. So I think I fixed my outro. We'll see. Let me see what my outro is supposed to do. I got my bit focus companions on here. So I got an outro button here. It should play media G and then wait for 48 seconds. And then it's supposed to stop the live stream. And that's only on Rodecaster video. Oh, and it'll do it on OBS too. All right. So if you guys don't have questions, I get to test out my outro button that I made. Let me see what we got. Okay, Mr. Terry Ray says, aha, that's it. Okay, and then Mr. Terry Ray says, thanks for answering again. No problem. Tony Mobley in the house. Big time Tony Mobley is what I'm gonna call you from now on, my friend. Big time Tony Mobley. He is joining us, gracing us with his presence, saying thanks. Welcome, welcome, my friend. And like I said, I look forward to connecting with you guys in the future. Please make sure to send us any questions, anything like that, and then we'll be jumping on. I don't think there's any problem with us going in the lab. I should be in the lab on Monday morning. For me, at least, it's in the morning. For our friends over in Aussie land, I think that's what they call it, Aussie land. There is I think it's like the afternoon for them, which is perfect, or evening maybe. I'm not sure. But with that being said, bless you guys. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it helped you in a major way. Now, at this point, most people would ask you to like and subscribe, and I think that's great, but my goal is a little bit different. My goal is to empower as many people as possible all over the globe. And there's one way that you can really help me do that, and that is to leave a comment below with a question, a thought, how this video may have helped you, or things that were left out that you still have questions about, and to share this video with someone just like you. Someone who is looking for answers, someone who's curious and wants to grow. With your help, I believe we can build a community of people that want to grow together. So until next time, God bless.